Welcome back, everyone. We're going international today. Well, sorta. We're diving into the world of post offices,
Oh, interesting.
specifically in English-speaking countries. I know what you're thinking. Post offices.
Yeah.
But stick with me here. It's more interesting than you think. I mean, it's a crash course in like practical English,
Uh-huh.
and we get to peek into different cultures too.
Yeah, it's really fascinating how something so, I guess, mundane, like just sending a letter,
Right.
can tell you so much about a society, their values, their norms.
Yeah.
We're talking about subtle language nuances, even unique postal services you wouldn't find in their places.
That's exactly right. And actually, when I was doing some research for this, I found something that surprised me.
Oh.
Did you know that in the US, you can apply for a passport at the post office?
You're kidding.
Had no idea.
Wow, that's one-stop shopping.
It is.
That's a great example of how post offices have become more than just places to mail things, right?
Exactly.
They're really integrated into everyday life.
Okay, let's unpack some of these cultural differences,
Okay.
because that's what I'm really curious about. Our source material mentions that how formal you are when you interact with postal workers can be different in different countries.
Right, that's a great observation.
Yeah.
For instance, in the UK, obviously you should always be polite,
Sure.
but you might find a more casual approach.
Oh, interesting.
Especially if you go to the same post office a lot, you've built up a rapport with the staff.
Mm-hmm.
You might hear things like, cheers, mate, or ta,
Okay.
which in other contexts would be considered too informal.
Gotcha. So it's like there's this unspoken code of conduct,
Yeah.
and knowing these subtle cues can really make or break the interaction.
Right.
Okay, what about other countries? Are there any other surprising etiquette tips?
Well, for sure. Let's hop across the pond to Canada for a second.
Okay.
Bilingualism plays a big role there, especially in places where a lot of people speak French.
Right.
Don't be surprised if the postal workers speak both English and French.
Wow. Okay.
They can seamlessly switch back and forth.
It's a good reminder that, post offices in these multicultural societies require you to be more aware, right?
Yes.
It's not just about knowing the words, it's understanding the context.
Exactly. Now let's head down under to Australia.
Okay.
You'll probably experience a much more laid-back and friendly atmosphere.
Yeah.
Australia really emphasizes casualness and mateship,
Right.
so it might feel more like chatting with a friend than a formal transaction.
It's so interesting how sending mail, the same service, can be so different.
I know.
Depending on where you are in the world, it's like each country has its own postal personality. Speaking of personality, the sources talk about some unexpected services offered by post offices in these countries.
Oh, right?
We're talking beyond stamps and envelopes here.
Oh, absolutely. You're stepping into a world of possibilities. For example, in some English-speaking countries, the post office can act as a bank.
Wow.
They offer things like cash withdrawals and money orders. This is super helpful in rural areas where there might not be a lot of banks.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's a post office, but it's more than that, right?
Yeah, it challenges what we think a post office is.
Exactly.
It's almost like a community hub. They adapt to what people need.
Hmm.
This reminds me of this time I was traveling. I was in like a remote part of Scotland.
Oh, tell me about it.
Well, I needed to exchange some currency, and I was really surprised that the only place that did that was the local post office.
Hmm.
It was like stepping back in time. They had
Wow.
old scales, and the postmaster knew everyone by name. It was very different from the, big impersonal post offices back home.
That's a charming experience.
It was.
It shows how these post offices, especially in small towns, can really become a part of the community.
Yeah.
They foster connections.
Yeah, it made me really appreciate the human element. It wasn't just a transaction, it was a conversation.
Yeah, those are the moments that make travel so great.
Yeah.
It reminds you that even something like sending mail
Yeah.
can be a chance for cultural exchange
Absolutely.
and unexpected discoveries.
Okay, so we've touched on these cultural differences
Uh-huh.
and these surprising services that post offices offer.
Right.
But before we go too far, let's talk about some essential vocabulary.
Oh, good idea.
Anyone going to an English-speaking country should know this stuff.
Right.
If you're going to the post office, you need to be able to communicate, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like having the right tools for the job.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's start with some basics. Certified mail. You should definitely know this one.
Okay.
It means you have proof that you sent something and you get a tracking number. This can be really important if you are sending documents, important documents or valuable things.
Yeah, so it's like that extra layer of security. peace of mind. It's
Mhm.
interesting how even with everything digital, we still need these physical forms of verification.
Yeah, and speaking of sending things quickly, priority mail is another important one to know.
Okay.
That means it will get there faster,
Uh-huh.
usually 1 to 3 business days. Standard shipping takes a lot longer.
Okay, so if I was sending a last-minute birthday gift or something that was, urgent,
Right.
priority mail is how I'd want to do it.
Yeah.
But I imagine there are levels even within priority mail.
Or for sure, you'll often see options like express mail. That's the fastest,
Okay.
usually overnight,
Wow.
or guaranteed by a certain time.
Yeah.
Of course, that costs more, but for really urgent things, it's there.
So it's like having a menu of options,
Exactly.
each one for a different need and a different budget. Okay, this is making me feel more prepared for my next post office trip.
Good.
What about when you need to receive something important?
Oh, good question. Registered mail? That's the term to know. It's a safe way to get important documents or valuable things. You have to sign for them.
Okay.
It makes things more accountable. You can trace it.
Gotcha. So if I was expecting something confidential or irreplaceable,
Right.
registered mail would be the safest.
Exactly.
Okay, this is all starting to click into place now.
Good.
It's amazing how many services they have once you start to look.
Yeah, it really shows you how complex the postal system is
Yeah.
and how important it is,
Uh-huh.
even in this digital world.
This deep dive is making me think about those language learning apps
Oh, right.
where they teach you phrases for specific situations.
Yeah.
But instead of, ordering food or asking for directions, we're learning how to handle the post office.
Right.
It's like leveling up our English skills in a very real way.
I like that.
Okay, so we've covered some cultural differences, unexpected services, and even some essential vocab.
Right.
What's next on our postal adventure? I'm ready to go deeper.
Well, the source material mentioned something called a practice challenge.
Okay.
I think this would be fun.
Okay, tell me more. What's the challenge?
Okay, so we're going to record ourselves having a pretend conversation at the post office.
Okay.
We'll use the vocab and the cultural insights we just talked about.
Okay, I like it.
It's a chance to practice our pronunciation and how fluent we are, and even our acting skills.
And who doesn't love a little role-playing?
Right.
But before we jump into that, maybe we should recap what we talked about
Oh, that's a great idea.
so we can get our thoughts together.
Yeah, let's go over those essential phrases that will come in handy no matter where we are.
Right. Yeah, repetition is key to mastering anything.
Exactly.
And navigating a post office is no different.
So let's refresh our memories and make sure we're ready to use these phrases when we need them.
Okay.
All right. Imagine you're at the counter at a busy post office. What's the first thing you'd say?
Let me see. To keep it simple, I'd probably say something like, I'd like to send this package.
Okay, great. Straight to the point.
Yeah.
Now, let's say you're not sure about the shipping options.
Yeah.
How would you ask about the fastest one?
I'd probably say something like, what's the fastest shipping method available?
Perfect. You want to get it there quickly.
Exactly.
Okay, now imagine you're waiting for an important document that needs a signature. What would you say?
I'd probably say, I need to pick up a registered letter.
Good. Using the right terms.
Yeah.
Now, what if you're sending a package overseas
Okay.
and you want to know how much it costs?
I'd probably ask, could you tell me the postal rates for international mail?
That's great. Very polite and effective.
Okay.
Okay, and last but not least, how would you track a package you've already sent?
I think I'd just say, I'd like to track a package.
Perfect.
Straightforward. With all the online shopping these days, tracking numbers are so important.
Absolutely.
Okay, that recap was super helpful.
Good.
I feel like I've got these phrases locked and loaded.
That's what we want.
Mm.
By practicing these phrases and remembering the cultural stuff we talked about, you'll be able to handle any post office in any English-speaking country.
I feel more confident already.
Great.
This deep dive has been really eye-opening.
Yeah, I agree.
I never thought I'd find post offices so interesting.
It just goes to show you that even everyday things can be complex and interesting.
Right.
We often forget about these systems that make modern life work.
And as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I keep thinking about that question you asked earlier.
Oh, yeah.
With digital communication, what will happen to post offices?
It's a big question. Will they be forgotten
right.
as emails and texting take over?
Yeah.
Or will they change and adapt?
It's interesting to think about. Maybe they'll become community hubs and offer even more services.
Right.
Or maybe they'll focus on sustainable packaging.
Right.
Help reduce our environmental impact.
Yeah, the possibilities are endless.
They are. It'll be interesting to see how post offices change to fit what people need.
Right.
So, what are your thoughts? What role do you see for post offices in the future? That's a great question for our listeners to think about. We've explored the present of post offices, but now it's time to imagine their future.
You know, it's fascinating to think about how post offices will keep up with the digital age. I
Yeah.
mean, they've already started, right? They do passport applications, even banking now in some places.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they're constantly changing.
Right.
But with, everyone buying things online now, do you think people will stop sending physical letters and packages?
Hmm. That's a really interesting question.
Yeah.
I mean, it's true that people don't send as many personal letters anymore because of email and all that.
Yeah.
But there's still something special about a handwritten letter or getting a real gift, you know?
Totally. There's something about holding a real object.
Right.
Knowing that someone took the time to pick it out and send it, it's more personal than something digital.
Exactly. And they're practical things, too. Some things you just can't send digitally. Yeah, that's true. Like important documents or artwork or, fragile things.
Yeah, you can't send a birthday cake digitally.
Exactly.
There's something about experiencing those things in person.
Right.
So even
Yeah.
though people might send less mail, I think there will always be a need for post offices.
I think so, too. And they'll keep changing and offering new services.
Exactly. That's what we were talking about earlier.
Right.
And this actually brings us to another point the sources mention,
Okay.
the role of post offices in communities.
Yeah.
It's like they're not just about the mail,
Yeah.
They bring people together in real life.
Absolutely.
Especially in small towns where people might not have as many places to socialize.
Right.
It's like that scene from the movie You've Got Mail,
Oh, yeah.
where everyone hangs out at the local post office,
Right.
catching up on things.
Exactly.
It reminds us that post offices can be places where people actually connect.
Yes.
And don't forget about the postal workers themselves.
Oh.
They are often the unsung heroes, delivering mail no matter what.
Rain or shine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And remembering people's names,
Yeah.
offering a friendly face,
Right.
they really contribute to that sense of community.
Yeah.
This makes me think of when I was living in this little town in New Zealand.
Oh, tell me about it.
The post office there was run by this sweet older couple, and they knew everyone's name.
Oh, that's nice.
It was so lovely. They'd ask about your family, give you advice on things like hiking trails.
Wow.
They'd even hold packages for people who were out of town.
That's so kind.
It was like having family at the post
It
office.
sounds lovely.
It was. It just shows you how post offices can be more than just a place to get mail,
Absolutely.
Especially in those smaller towns.
They create these really valuable human connections.
Exactly. It's a reminder that even with all the technology we have, we still need these places to connect
We do.
face to face. So speaking of building, our sources talk about how post offices are designed.
Oh, interesting. Architecture.
Yeah, like they're not just buildings, they're reflections of a country's history and culture.
I've never thought of it that way.
Me neither. Tell me more about what the sources say.
Okay, so for example, in the UK, lots of historic post offices are these big Victorian era buildings.
Oh, wow.
They have really fancy decorations and high ceilings. They were built to show how important the postal service was.
It's like they were meant to make a statement
Exactly.
about communication,
Right.
connecting people.
Yeah, and if you travel around, you'll see all kinds of architectural styles.
Oh, cool.
In the US, you'll see Art Deco from the 1930s.
Okay.
And in Australia, there's more modern designs from after World War II.
It's like a timeline of architectural history.
I know, right? And all of these everyday buildings,
Makes you appreciate how much work went into designing them.
yeah, there's real craftsmanship there.
And then there's the symbolism, too. Like the red pillar boxes in the UK or the eagle emblem in the US.
Right.
It gives you this feeling of national identity.
Exactly. It's more than just a building.
Yeah, it's an icon.
It represents how we connect with each other.
This whole architectural perspective is really adding a whole new layer to this.
I know, it's fascinating.
Speaking of things we might overlook, the sources also talk about post offices in times of crisis.
Oh, wow. Like wars.
Yeah, they become really important.
That makes sense.
Connecting people across borders, offering some sense of normalcy.
Right.
It's like a lifeline.
Tell me more about this.
Okay, so during World War II, for example,
Okay.
post offices were the way that soldiers could stay in touch with their families.
Yeah.
Those letters and packages were so important,
Right there.
bringing comfort and hope,
Yeah.
a real connection during a difficult time.
Right. Like it's more than just words on paper.
Yeah,
It's emotional.
exactly. And even today, post offices are crucial during disasters.
Oh,
They help people communicate and get supplies to those who need them.
It shows how important these physical networks are.
Yeah.
Even with all the technology we have, sometimes those are the only things that work.
Exactly. Post offices have always adapted and found a way to provide essential services.
They really have.
This deep dive is making me realize that post offices are way more than just about mail.
I know, it's amazing.
They're community centers, architectural landmarks.
Right.
They reflect history, and they even represent resilience and connection.
Yeah, we've really looked beyond the surface here.
We have, and just when I thought we'd covered it all, I see the sources mention something called mail art.
Oh, what's that?
Apparently, it's like a mix of postal communication and art.
Oh, interesting.
It's like taking those envelopes and stamps and turning them into art.
So creative.
I know. It's a way to express yourself.
Yeah.
Go beyond the normal way of sending mail.
Right, make something unique and personal.
Exactly.
What do they do, the mail artist?
They use all kinds of techniques. Collage, painting, even poetry.
Wow.
And these little artworks travel through the mail system.
That's so cool.
It's like bringing a little bit of creativity to something that's usually pretty ordinary.
I love that. It challenges how we see mail.
Yeah. And it's not just about the artist either.
Oh, right.
The person receiving it becomes part of the art experience too.
It's like a collaboration.
Exactly. And the mail carrier is like an art courier.
That's a fun way to think about it.
It's really cool how mail art takes something ordinary and makes it playful and unexpected.
It really does. Even in a system with so many rules, there's always room for creativity.
This whole deep dive has been so amazing.
I know, it's been a whirlwind.
We've learned about culture, architecture, history, even art.
It's like we've gone on this global adventure.
I know, right? And just when I think we're done, I see the sources have one last challenge for us.
Oh, another one.
This time it's all about role-playing.
Oh, fun. I love roleplay.
Me too. We're going to imagine ourselves in different post office situations in different countries.
Oh, I like this.
It's a chance to test out everything we've learned.
Okay, I'm ready.
Our language skills, cultural knowledge.
Yeah.
Let's see how we handle these different postal landscapes.
Let's do it.
Okay, are you ready for our first scenario?
I am. Let's go.
Okay, picture this. We're in a busy post office in London.
Okay, I can see it.
The line is long, people are chatting with all kinds of accents.
Lots of energy.
What's the first thing you do?
Okay, let me think. Well, I would want to be respectful of the local customs.
Good idea.
So go to the back of the line and wait my turn.
That's right, you can't cut the line in Britain.
Definitely not. That would be very rude.
Okay, now it's your turn to be served. How do you greet the postal worker?
I think I'd make eye contact, smile, and say something polite like, "Good morning. I'd like to send this package, please."
That's perfect. You're being polite, but also efficient.
All right, I'd want to make sure I'm using please and thank you a lot, too.
Of course. Those are important in British culture.
Okay, now let's say I need to send this package to Australia. What's the best way to ask about the fastest shipping option?
Maybe something like, "Excuse me, I'm sending this to Australia. Could you advise me on the quickest and most secure shipping method, please?"
That's perfect. You're asking for advice, which is a bit more formal.
Right.
It fits the British style.
I feel like I'm getting the hang of this.
You are.
It's all about paying attention to the details and being polite, but still getting your point across.
Exactly. Now let's switch things up.
Okay.
We're going to a sunny post office in Sydney, Australia.
Oh, nice. I love Australia.
Imagine someone greets you with a "G'day, mate." What do you say?
Oh, I'd definitely say good day back.
Good.
And then maybe something like, "I'd like to send this postcard, please."
Perfect. You're keeping it casual and friendly.
Right. Now, what if I don't know how much it costs to send a postcard overseas?
You could say, "Hey, mate, how much does it cost to send this postcard to the UK?"
Oh, I love that. It's so Australian.
Right?
This is so much fun.
I know. It's like we're traveling the world.
I know. And practicing our English at the same time.
Okay. Are you ready for our last stop?
I am. Where are we going?
This time, we're in New York City.
Oh, wow. The Big Apple.
Imagine a busy post office in Manhattan.
Okay, I can feel the energy already.
It's a fast-paced environment.
Yeah.
So how do you approach the counter?
I think you have to be direct and efficient in New York.
You got it.
So maybe something like, "Hi there, I need to send this package to California. What's the fastest way to get it there?"
Perfect. You're clear and concise.
Now, what if I'm not sure about the different shipping options they have?
You could say something like, "What are my options for shipping this package? I need it there, ASAP."
Oh, I like that. Very New York.
Right. You're being assertive and letting them know time is important.
This whole exercise is showing me how important it is to change how you communicate depending on where you are.
Exactly.
What works in one place might not work somewhere else.
You're absolutely right.
This has been so eye-opening.
I know. It's amazing how different post office cultures can be.
I'm already feeling more confident about navigating these different situations.
That's great to hear. We've gone from London to Sydney to New York.
And we've learned so much.
We have. It's all about being aware of the cultural differences and adapting how you communicate.
Now, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I have a challenge for you.
Oh, okay. I like a good challenge.
This one is a bit of a brain teaser.
Okay, I'm ready.
Let's see how well you know your postal terminology. Imagine this. You're sending a very fragile antique vase to your grandma in Canada.
Oh, okay.
You want to make sure it gets there safe and sound, and you need to be able to track it the whole way. What shipping method would you choose?
This is a tough one.
It is. And what extra services would you ask for?
Let me think. Okay, I think I choose registered mail.
Okay, good choice. Why registered mail?
Well, it's the most secure option, and someone has to sign for it when it arrives.
Right, so you know it gets to the right person.
Exactly. And I can track it the whole time. But to be extra safe, I'd also get insurance,
Oh, good idea.
just in case something happens to it during shipping.
That's a smart move. You're thinking of everything.
I try to be prepared, and of course, I'd pack it really carefully.
Of course.
Lots of bubble wrap and those packing peanuts.
Yes. You don't want that vase breaking.
Definitely not. It sounds like you've got a good plan.
I think so. I feel pretty confident about my postal skills now.
You should. You really understand all the different services and how to use them.
This deep dive has been amazing.
It really has.
I've learned so much about post offices, communication, even problem solving.
Me too. It's been a really rewarding experience.
And just when I think we're done, I see our sources have one more thing for us.
Oh, what's that?
They want to talk about the future of post offices in the digital world.
That's such a big question.
I know. It's exciting and maybe a little bit nostalgic, too.
It is.
What do our sources say about the future?
Well, they think post offices will keep changing.
Yeah.
They'll use new technology, but they'll still be important for communities and connecting people.
I like that. So what are some of the ways they might change?
Well, imagine if post offices became like centers for online shopping.
Oh, interesting.
You could pick up and drop off packages there.
Oh, that's smart.
It would make things easier and more efficient.
And what about the postal workers? Will their jobs change?
I think so, yeah. They'll need new skills, but I think they'll still be really important.
Yeah, I can see that.
They might use mobile devices, help people with online transactions,
Okay.
and maybe even help people in the community who aren't comfortable with technology.
It's like they'll be digital postal ambassadors.
Exactly. It's a whole new way of thinking about the postal service.
This is really exciting. It shows that post offices can keep up with the times,
Right. They're adaptable.
and they can still be important even in a digital world.
I think so too.
This glimpse into the future is really inspiring.
It
It
is.
shows that even with all the technology, we still need that human connection.
Yeah, and the feeling of getting a real package or a handwritten note.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance
Right.
between the new and the old.
I agree.
And as we finish up our deep dive, I'm really grateful for post offices.
Me too?
They might seem ordinary, but they really are important for connecting us.
Yeah, they remind us that we're all connected.
It's been great exploring this topic with you.
I've really enjoyed it.
We've learned so much.
We have.
And now it's time to wrap things up. We hope you've enjoyed this journey with us
Yes.
and that you have a new appreciation for post offices.
Until next time, keep exploring and keep learning.
And keep sending those postcards.
And they could even become like hubs for 3D printing.
3D printing.
Yeah. Offering on-demand manufacturing.
Wow, that's taking it to a whole new level.
Right. For local businesses, even residents.
So post offices would become like mini factories?
Kinda, yeah. Empowering communities to make things locally.
That's a really cool idea.
Right. It would boost local economies, less transportation, better for the environment.
It's a win-win. But what about the challenges? I mean, keeping up with all this new technology can't be easy.
You're right. That's one of the biggest hurdles. They need to adapt constantly, invest in new equipment, train employees. It's a lot.
And it's not just about having the technology right. People need to know how to use it.
Absolutely. Closing that digital divide is crucial. Everyone needs to benefit from these changes, no matter their age or tech skills.
And what about data security? I mean, if post offices are handling more online stuff, more personal info, how do they keep all that safe?
That's a huge concern. They need really strong cybersecurity, clear policies about data, and constant training for employees.
So they become like digital guardians.
Exactly. Protecting our data as carefully as they've protected our mail for centuries.
It's a big responsibility.
It is. Especially with how much of our lives is online now.
You know, thinking about all these challenges and possibilities, it's incredible how the Postal Service has always managed to adapt.
Right. Through wars, economic crises, even technological revolutions.
They always seem to find a way to reinvent themselves.
It's really remarkable.
It shows you how strong that need for human connection is.
And how vital post offices are.
To communication, commerce, communities. This deep dive has been amazing.
It really has.
We've explored so much, the past, present, and even the future of post offices.
It's been a journey. We've uncovered so many layers, learned about different cultures, found unexpected connections.
And I'm leaving with a sense of optimism. It seems like post offices aren't going anywhere.
I agree. They're evolving, blending the old with the new.
They're holding on to the values that make them so important while embracing the digital age.
It's the start of a new chapter. A way to stay connected in meaningful ways, no matter what the future brings.
Well said. And on that note, it's time to wrap up our deep dive into the world of post offices. We hope you've enjoyed the journey as much as we have.
We hope you've gained a new appreciation for these amazing institutions.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning.
And keep sending those postcards.